Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Superboy the Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Tom Gallagher, with my co host, Chris Jacobsen, our
Howdy,
resident
guys.
Superboy fact checker. If there's ever something I don't know, I know that I can go to Chris, and most of the time, you know exactly what it is within a second. So
Well,
we're doing.
given that I'm just turned a year older, it might take a couple of seconds.
Yep. So everybody, if you want to leave us a comment, wish Chris a happy birthday because we're recording on his birthday today. But yeah, so last week we released the first unrelated commentary episode that we've done, which is on the first episode of the Ruby Spears Superman animated series from 1988. We enjoyed it so much that it's literally 5-10 minutes later, and we're just going to go ahead and record another one because we're having fun and we just want to keep it going. So we're going to do episode 2 now. Yeah, we might as well just go straight into it. How about it?
Yep.
Okay,
so count yourselves down.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Here we are with that beautiful John Williams theme music again.
Yep.
It's funny. I know I said at the beginning of the last episode that as far as I'm concerned, they can use the John Williams theme whenever they like because it's just always going to be the first thing you think of when you think of Superman. Like, it's just iconic. But I kind of wish they would bring back the Lois and Clark theme tune as well at some point because I thought the Lois and Clark theme was excellent. And I want to see it again. Like, whoever makes the new Henry Cavill Superman movie, if you can work the Lois and Clark theme in at some point, like, you'll have a fan from me immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. This title sequence is amazing. It's just really well animated, and I like that it's all the same animation, but it's just got a little bit of extra shading because it's the intro. Yeah. They obviously put a tiny bit more money into it.
Gasco. He's a longtime Superman writer. Forgotten he wrote an episode.
I still think it's awesome that in '88 we had 2 different shows primarily by the writers of the comics. Like, can that just start happening again, please? Like, can we not just let this thing be something that just happened in the 80s? Like, I know Jeff Johns wrote a couple episodes of Smallville and The Flash, but I mean, if that's one comic book writer.
Now, is it just me, or does that ship look like a gigantic beetle?
It does. It's like a half beetle, half sort of turtle thing. It's sort of like got a big... Yeah. That is a cool design for a spacesuit as well. I mean, you said it in the last episode we did a commentary for, but the design work on this show is clearly excellent.
Yep.
I mean, not necessarily.
Well,
I mean, they look like different species, but I've seen enough sci-fi to know that sometimes you can have 2 completely different species on the same planet.
Yeah.
Very cool designs.
That line from Jimmy's so great.
Oops. That is a cool design for a ship, though. Even if it does look like a beetle, I quite like the design.
And I'd forgotten that Star Labs actually looked like classic comic Star Labs. In this.
I do kind of like the design of that helmet from the spacesuit. I think that's just a really cool design.
Yep.
If they built that in live action, I could easily see that working in something like Star Wars or something. You can see their influences. Like last episode with the droid that looks just like one from Empire, and yeah.
Yep. There is something of note here. The two scientists that they work with at Star Labs are two famous Star Labs scientists from the comics. Dr. Jeanette Clyburn, who of course was named after Jeanette Kahn, who was the publisher of DC, and the male scientist is Dr. Albert Michaels, who you might remember is the Atomic Skull.
Yeah. I'm guessing he doesn't become the Atomic Skull in this show.
No, I'm sure that they were actually going to they were planning on doing something like that, but
yeah, you wouldn't introduce him if you don't plan to at some point pay that off.
Yeah.
I love that. Maybe we should
use that.
We should steal that for season 5, definitely.
Yep.
Another very cool design.
Yep. I'd hate to run into that thing in a dark alley.
I love that this version of Superman says stuff like "Great Krypton."
Yeah.
I know there are some people that aren't fans of when he does references to Krypton like that, but I always liked it in the Silver and Bronze Age. Like,
you know, it has its moments where it's okay. It's just
you don't want to overdo it. That's the only thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and plus the fact that being that he's an adopted kid who was raised, in Middle America, he wouldn't be saying it that much.
No. Although, I mean, Silver Age Superman basically had memories of Krypton. He grew up as a very young kid.
Yeah.
Still on Krypton. He has memory of it. So I get it for certain versions of the character, but yeah, not all of them. It wouldn't work in season 5 because Superboy he literally has only just found out he's Kryptonian, so it'd make no sense at all for him to start saying that stuff.
Yeah.
It is a shame.
That's one of the reasons why I prefer his exclamation of "Great Scott."
So I always like when he says, like, instead of saying "Oh God," he says like "Oh Row." Like, I've always liked that, but yeah. But I know I mentioned it before as well, but just the little touches that they've included in this are just great. Like, as he just landed in the sewer just then, obviously there was just a single rat that runs off. Like, it's all just little things that add atmosphere. That you know, budgetarily, you could easily make a good justification for getting rid of the rat. Just don't get rid of it. It's too expensive. Let's save a few pennies. But they kept it in for atmosphere, and I just appreciate it.
Yep.
I like that it doesn't just work one way; it can be reversed. Yeah.
Yeah. This episode's a little bit like a whodunit. Because we're
I
not.
wonder if the female alien is maybe she's his prisoner. Maybe.
Well, you'll have to watch and find out.
Because he kept saying she's my maybe it's his wife, maybe it's his prisoner, but maybe she can change her form or something. I don't know.
Well, like I said, you'll just have to see. I mean, even the recording that they just watched, it doesn't really say who's the cop and who's the crook, as it were.
So it is a cop and a crook. Okay. I must have missed where it confirmed. I tell you what, this design of the ship reminds me of. It reminds me of Starbug from Red Dwarf, if you've ever seen that.
Mm.
Man, people keep passing out right as they're about to say the important bit on this ship, don't they?
Yeah.
Just a classic sort of sci-fi trope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gotta love it. I mean, you know, these tropes become tropes for a reason. Like, there's a reason they keep being used. It's because they're always fun.
And now, of course, each one of them is going to be telling Lois and Superman that they're the cop and the other is the crook.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like a classic sci-fi Star Trek type twist where the scary alien is the good guy. I'm just calling it now. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I think it is. I mean, it makes sense. I know they've said a few times Superman's X-ray vision is, you know, it works like a basic X-ray machine, so it would be slightly radioactive, but I don't know.
Yeah.
In my head, it never quite worked that way, but
that's one of the reasons why I like what they did in Superman Returns, where it was less like radiation and more like, you know, the way an MRI works.
You can see where the budget ran out a few times. His S keeps changing color.
Well, that used to happen on the Super Friends all the time. So
happens on all these old cartoons. So I'm a big fan of the animated series of the Mask from the Jim
Yeah.
Carrey movie, and I love that animated series. I think it's really funny, but it's amazing how many times the colorists forgot that his neck is supposed to be just normal skin, so he's goes just green all the way down into his shirt. Sometimes even his hands would be green. It's like, how does that work? It's a mask.
Yeah.
But it happens. Often it's because they, send it overseas to be done like in, studios, other countries.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this was partly made like by the Japanese studio, because I noticed in the credits at the end of the first one that it's partly made by Toei Productions, which I think is a Japanese studio, if I'm right.
Yes.
Do you know if they actually helped produce the show, or maybe they just like helped with the animation or something? Maybe they were just
I'm not
contracted.
quite
But
sure. I think they just did the animation because this was pretty much a Ruby Spears production. They just farmed it out to Toei.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's just a name I didn't expect to see during the credits, and for some reason, I was just reminded of it then. Do you know who did the voice acting for this character, for her? Like, I forget her
That's
name, but
that's Tress McNeely. She's a long time voice actress.
yeah, no, I was
Uh,
just thinking that she's doing a good job. I was just,
she's also the voice of Ma Kent.
that's cool. I do like when voice actors on animated shows have to do multiple roles. It's always fun. It's like, even though I couldn't sit through it, like Star Trek, the animated series, like you can tell that James Doohan is the voice of like 20 to 30 different characters throughout it.
Well, he did the same thing in the original Star Trek series. So
Yeah.
most of the alien monsters who you don't see their physicality, he
What, in
was
the
doing
live
the voice.
action?
Yeah.
I didn't know he did it in live action. I only knew about the animated show. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll appreciate this show just simply for the fact that it's an animated Superman show and it's got the S on the cape. I know I keep going on about it, but I miss it. I wish it would come back, and this proves that if you can do it in 1988, there's no excuse not to do it now. It's an iconic part of his costume.
Yeah.
You know, how iconic would the cover for The Death of Superman be if it was just a piece of red fabric on a stick instead of clearly Superman's cape? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. Superman's cape is one of only 3, maybe 4 capes in all of comicdom that you can see who his cape it is just by looking at it.
Yeah. So is this another Super Baby episode? Let's see.
Yes, it is.
It is indeed awesome. Although he's slightly older, it's more like Super Toddler, this one.
Yeah.
Does Lana Lang ever actually show up on this show? Because,
She does.
okay. I was just thinking, they're in Smallville, he's a kid, like, little red-headed girl was there. Why couldn't they have just made it the Langs?
Well, Lana doesn't actually show up till his first day at school. episode.
Right.
And
I just figure Smallville's such a small town that they,
Yeah, and when she does show up, she's voiced by actress Kelly Martin.
Can't say I recognize the name for that one.
She was known for being in a show called, I think it was Life Goes On. Or she was the older sister of a mentally challenged brother.
Hmm. I love Super Baby. He's just oh. Yeah. There is just something glorious and just wholesome, and yeah, I just love Super Baby stories. How doesn't the whole of Smallville know that Clark Kent is Superman?
I don't know.
You'd think someone would have remembered. Oh, I love it. That was awesome. That was great.
There's a wholesome charm about them.
I love Super Baby in the comics, and I don't think I've ever been shy of telling people about it. I've been posting screenshots from Super Baby stuff on Twitter for years. It's just lovely to see it in animation. Obviously, the only episode of this show I'd seen before we started doing these commentaries was episode 1, and like I said to you, it was so long ago that I'd completely forgotten that there even was a Super Baby segment at the end of it.
Yep.
So it's just seeing a Super Baby on animation is just wonderful. I think it's fantastic, and I'm loving this show. I think it's really, really good. It's just like you said, it's a shame it didn't last longer.
Yeah, I mean, it is the first and only time we got the prankster in a Superman show, and I'm talking about the real version of the prankster, not the version they did on Lois and Clark.
Yeah, that doesn't really count. It was crap.
It's the first time we got.
I don't dislike the actor they cast, but yeah.
It's the first time we got the Phantom Zone, the way they were in the Silver Age. I mean, General Zod, his design is Silver Age Zod.
That's cool.
Right down to the policeman's cap, and the strap across the chest.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the time when they make these animated shows, the first thing they do is they redesign every character.
Yeah.
In this, they didn't really redesign the characters. They just translated them onto the screen. Like,
Yeah.
I've skipped ahead and I've looked, like, the prankster looks just like he did in the cartoons. Like we mentioned when Perry White was on screen, he just looks like the comic Perry White. Even to this day, he still kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
And
The only thing that they took away from Perry was the cigar. That's it.
yeah, well, it's a kids' show. They probably couldn't have gotten away with it. Like you said in the previous commentary, like they weren't allowed to have Superman punch people, which,
Yeah.
let's face it, was a problem even into the 90s with the Spider-Man animated series. Like, that's famously why Spider-Man does a lot of kicking, is supposedly he wasn't allowed to punch people. Although
Yeah.
although I did see an interview with one of the showrunners slash producers of that show, and they said that no, that's an urban legend. There's the fact that he doesn't punch people is just a coincidence. They just thought swinging in with a big kick just looked better. So but who knows? Maybe they're trying to be nice, so Disney will give them a chance to reboot it like they have with X-Men.
Or even maybe they're trying to be nice with Disney, so Disney will actually legally release it in the United States on DVD and Blu-ray.
Has it never been released on?
Not in its entirety. There have
Oh,
been
is it like the compilation things where there's like 3 episodes on the DVD? Is that sort of thing?
Yeah.
That's what we had here. There was like Spider-Man versus Daredevil, and yeah, it was like they
Yeah.
would just release the 3 episodes where Spider-Man and Daredevil team up. It's like Superman, Spider-Man. I saw one DVD and I was quite excited for it because the DVD was advertised as Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six,
Yeah.
and it's not even the full story. It's like just 4 random episodes where he goes up against the Sinister Six members, like individually. Like it was
Yeah.
it was shit. And I think even like the first episode on the DVD is like Return of the Green Goblin Part 2. It's like what's the fucking point of just including Part 2 on the DVD?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it was the same thing over there. Probably was the exact same DVDs, to be fair.
It,
But
it, it was, and I own all of them.
yeah, it's on Disney Plus now. That's something, I suppose. But I always would prefer to buy physical media because you never know when it's going to get taken off of whatever streaming service.
Exactly, like this animated series here. This was on Tubi for a while, and now it's not.
Mm.
And the only way
Is Superboy still on Tubi? Because somebody was asking me the other day, and I said, as far as I know, it is.
it is still there.
Yeah, who knows for how long? Like, I'm glad that I've got it all on DVD because otherwise,
yeah. It's just for me, laying in bed at night, or even when I'm downstairs, on the computer, gaming, since I don't have a DVD player down there, it's easier to just watch it on Tubi down there. But if I'm in my room, I'm gonna put my DVDs in.
Yeah, the quality will always be better. I mean, in the UK at the moment, we've still got like Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager just on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, but the quality, because it's just the DVD rips, Netflix's compression is so strong, basically, that it just looks like utter garbage. Like, you can compare just the DVD of Star Trek Voyager to the to Netflix's version in the UK, and the Netflix version just looks like arse. It's awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, so even if it's only a DVD quality thing, it's always worth getting the physical copy because the quality is better every time. I've never seen a streaming site that looks better than a physical copy.
Yeah. Unless
Plus,
it's something that was just recently made and they're putting it up, like
yeah,
the Batman.
yeah, but I mean, the Batman, if you buy the 4K like Blu-ray, it's still gonna always look better than HBO Max, just because it's less compressed. Like,
Yeah.
you see comparisons, there's not much of a difference, but I don't know. For me, the difference is still significant enough that I would choose to buy the physical copy every time.
Yeah, you can still see the difference, as it were.
Plus, I mean, we're nerds. We love a good bonus feature when we can get it. If there's a behind the scenes documentary or some commentaries or whatever, deleted scenes, bloopers, it doesn't matter what it is. If there's bonus features, I'm going to watch it. And Netflix doesn't do bonus features, and that really, really sucks. I think
I think they only
the
do
general audiences have lost a lot.
Yeah, they only do bonus features when it's something that they themselves have produced.
Yeah, it's still extremely rare though. It's like,
yeah,
you know, you go like when Daredevil was like airing on Netflix. Like, I would have loved to have seen like full length like behind the scenes documentaries and stuff on it. Like, I would have loved to have watched that stuff. But it's just, or just the movies they release. Like sometimes they'll include the trailer, and that will be the only bonus thing connected with it. Like, if I watch Terminator 2 on Netflix, I want to be able to watch that hour and a half long Terminator 2 making of documentary that's on all the DVDs and Blu-rays. Like, for me, that's essential viewing to appreciate certain films. But I'm really getting off topic now.
We do that all the time, Tom. No worries.
Yep. And it's the end of the episode anyway. So should we wrap it up?
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to give us a like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Thank you all so much for watching. We really do appreciate it.
Yep.
Be sure to tune in next time.
Yep. We'll be back soon with something else.
Yep. As you say, Chris, same super time, same super channel.
Yep.
Up and away.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya.